Welcome. Today we have with us a seasoned journalist and academician, Mr. Srinivasan Nandagopal sir, who is the co-founder and convener of the Center for Integrated Learning, Mangalore. A former senior correspondent of the Times of India, he brings with him over 3 decades of rich experience as a consultant, trainer, political analyst, human resource facilitator, and an avid adventure trader. Throughout his career, he has passionately contributed to education, social development, and youth empowerment across India, inspiring countless students, educators, and communities through his writings, trainings, and innovative initiatives. And now we have the honor of having him here with us. We welcome you, Mr. Srinivasan Nandagopal, sir. Thank you so much for taking the time to do this.
My pleasure.
And so, to start with, your career path weaves together journalism, education, activism, and adventure. What personal philosophy or core belief has guided you through these diverse routes?
Well, very interesting question. In fact, I am somebody who takes life as it comes, and there's no big philosophy behind the journey of my life, and it's been happening. Uh, Very importantly, it is still happening. So basically, I would rather attribute this wonderful journey to my schooling in Kendriya Vidyalaya Panambur, where I got enormous opportunities, including to represent my school in the International Jamboree of Scouts and Guides, and then accomplished my Himalayan trekking expedition to Khafni Glacier when I was just in the 9th standard. So this was the beginning of exploring. So I believe life is all about exploration. There is no other philosophy. So then the journey began. Every opportunity that came my way, I have grabbed. That is again yet another, I would, as you put it, as philosophy, I would say grab any opportunity that comes your way. You do your best or not, you take it and explore and go ahead. So even in my pre-university course, or most importantly, my days of undergraduate program in St. Aloysius College, I did my pre-university in Govindas College, Suratkal, and it was in St. Aloysius College that I took up physics, electronics, and mathematics as my core subjects in BSc. So the campus life was such that except for physics, electronics, and mathematics, I did everything in the campus, right from my camps of NCC to the debating association, the quizzing spree, the Physical Science Association, name it, I was there. I was there in the college table tennis team representing the university, and so on and so forth. So that gave me a broader perspective to life that I can survive anywhere. So from there on, it was rather a realization that science was not my cup of tea, and so you can call it as a gate crash into the field of journalism. I was not a very avid reader, though I was into public speaking and creative writing, but I was not a very avid reader. So I actually didn't know anything about journalism, but within a few days of me entering into my first job as a reporter, come sub-editor, it just clicked, and I felt that that was my calling. So when you talk about philosophy, I believe take life as it comes, live in the moment, grab all the opportunities come your way, and leave the rest to happen. So I would like to say it is happening, and I hope it will continue to happen.
That's a really inspiring answer, sir. And moving on, as aforementioned, with your role as a political analyst, how do you think we can bring more balance and understanding into today's divided political conversations?
Well, it's it's a very sad thing to say, but then I would like to take you back to about 33 to 30 years when I started my journalism career. Um, Politicians used to be a different breed of people. Um, and journalists also were a different breed of people. Then there was a very healthy interaction between politicians and journalists. So I'm just deviating from your question as per se, but then I would like to remember or I would like to bring forth the relationship that journalists and politicians had and say both breeds have vanished somewhere. The earlier so-called type of politicians are not seen these days, and type of journalists are also very rare these days. So I was telling you about healthy discussion between politicians and journalists. Today that is absent or that is missing. As I see the press conferences or the briefings that politicians give with no response or almost zero response from the journalists. That is, it has become a he said journalism today. So a press conference, a press release is given, and you see that the question and answer session or the discussion or a healthy debate does not happen in today's roles of journalists and politicians that had to happen. So there is the first point I would like to mention. Journalists today have to take more responsibility to set right this divisive politics that the politicians are playing. The problem is journalists also have polarized into different fragments or segments or sections like the political parties and their ideologies. So to balance, the first thing the politicians should do is to think about people, think about civic issues, think about the things that we need to see in terms of development as Vishwaguru to be, not bring people, divide people in the lines of communal lines or religious lines or regional lines or language lines. Look, everywhere you have politics being played, and that if people first approach is taken by the politicians, I think a lot of things will change. At the same time, issues first should be journalists' priority, and every time a politician speaks, journalist has to question. The questioning has come down to bare minimal, which is why today we have alternative media or what we call independent journalists like Ravish Kumar or Abhisar Sharma and various others who had to come out of the mainstream media. That there it shows it is not only the politicians, it is the media which is creating this divide. So politicians, again, I emphasize the point, politicians should work for the development of their region and nation as a whole, and journalists should question whenever there is a need where the fragile atmosphere is being created, volatility is on the high, and there media's role plays a very important part, and politicians, of course, have to change their ways of thinking. And changing their ways of thinking can only happen when informed voters show the politicians their place.
That's really thought-provoking answer, sir. And with your role as an academician, what would you say is one book that changed how you think about society?
Well, not as just an academician, as a human being, as an Indian first. mm, I think the Constitution of India itself is a book which is above the scriptures of any religion, and like I wouldn't have read the whole Constitution as a book, but then different commentaries on the Constitution of India, may it be making of the Constitution, may it be constitutional revision, asking for constitutional revision, and various other books written on Indian Constitution. Indian Constitution happens to be very close to my heart. And we are also celebrating 75 years of Indian Constitution. So, with all the pros and cons, with all the debates, I'm happy, rather sad that there is no much debate happening, but happy that some debate is happening where there is a point of view of each one of us, say, right from the perspective of Ambedkar to Savarkar or the BJP ideology, or to the Gandhian and Nehruvian ideologies. We are discussing about the Constitution. So I would say Constitution is the book that gave me real inspiration, or gave me some kind of a thought-provoking ideas through which I have based my philosophy of thinking of India first, and thinking of uniting people, thinking of, though a very utopian thought, but then I think discussions and debate has to go on in this regard. Well, talking about books, we grew up with Annie Britton, which is because the adventure, and then we grew up with Huckleberry Finn and Tom Sawyer and various others. Then you have people like Ruskin Bond, who was really impacted our reading habits and our thought, our creativity. So there have been so many, and now you have writers like, I have always been fascinated by Isaac Asimov, the science fictions of him, and now of course Yuval Harari and his series of books on evolution of mankind. These are books that keeps my thought pondering at various things. Of course, you have works of which I have read in bits and pieces, which have impacted my teaching in sociology, that is of works of Karl Marx or Plato or Socrates and various others.
And you also often work with students as a human resource facilitator. How do you think schools can teach civic responsibility beyond textbooks?
Well, civic responsibility cannot be taught. It has to be inculcated. We have to create an ambience. So when we talk about school, say I was just watching some clips about the schools in China or Japan or in Finland, which are supposed to be now models. Well, children are taught right from cooking, cleaning, mopping, brooming. Well, we have 50 people as housekeeping employees in a school, and Every 10 minutes you see somebody sweeping the floor. What is the culture? The culture is that every 10 minutes the floor of the school needs grooming. So that means it is dirtied in every 10 minutes or half an hour. So where is the culture? So the children should get an ecosystem, should get an ambience where these becomes habits. Cleanliness becomes a habit. Taking care of themselves become a habit. So when such an ambience is created, I think civic sense, we don't need to advertise on Swachh Bharat and various other things. Right at the school, at home, if children are made to take care of their things, children are made more responsible, I think a lot of things will change. So, again, having moral science lessons, having civic sense as a subject will definitely not help. Say it's like what you call lecturing about swimming. That's all I can say. You have to jump into the water to swim. So create an ambience, create an ecosystem in the school, in the colleges, in the educational institutions, so that it does some things become habit. So I think we need to relook at civic sense and grooming put together. So we give a lot of emphasis on public speaking, for example. Well, along with public speaking as intended to develop the personality, it should be that the child inculcates the value of cleanliness, value of responsibility, more importantly, value of social well-being and communicating in a very social manner. And most importantly, religion has to be removed out from anywhere near children, any child for that matter. So civic sense, overall grooming, everything come together. So we can't see civic sense in isolation.
And also, you have co-founded numerous initiatives like the Center for Integrated Learning, the Children's Library. What is a dream project you still wish to undertake? Something that brings together journalism, activism, education initiatives, and adventurous spirit as well.
Okay. Well, you asked this question at a time when I'm almost preparing the roadmap for one of my dream projects. That's quite coincidental because say I have a big concern with regard to government schools, the functioning of the government schools, the situation funding, the situation and infrastructure. More than infrastructure, it is the academic, non-academic growth of children who are bogged down by inferiority complex when they come to the 11th standard, where there is a different ball game altogether. So I was just thinking of one, trying to randomly visit government schools in Karnataka to start with at least, and also the private schools have privileged enough to get resource persons from different fields and especially with regard to skill development, career orientation and study techniques. So I was thinking of organizing a pan-Karnataka sessions on career orientation, skill development and facing challenges ahead. So project is almost ready and my adventure and my love for traveling also was included in this plan of action. So very soon I'll be announcing a project called Dreams on Wheels. So I will be riding a two-wheeler throughout the state with about 180 sessions, that is 90-day expedition in nook and corners of Karnataka, and sharing my thoughts.
Just you, sir? Not
Yeah, right now I want to go solo. So it's part of my solo adventure, my mission to empower the 10th standard students, and also to critically evaluate the situation facing government schools in Karnataka. So probably in 90 days, I might visit about 100-150 schools randomly as I'm going on road. And 2 sessions, of course, with children coming in clusters of 10 schools or 15 schools. So I would, as planned, I would be reaching out to about 50,000 children, about 180 sessions with about 1,000 schools participating in these sessions. So this is one very big dream project that I'm looking forward to, and very soon I intend to have this as a pilot project. Maybe I would like to ride through the country someday. Hopefully.
That's really exciting, sir. We wish you all the very best.
Thank you. Yes, much needed.
We'd love to volunteer also.
Oh, sure. Yes, thank you.
Yes, and thank you so much for sharing your valuable insights with us today. Your decades of contribution as a journalist, academician, and social activist are deeply inspiring. And as we conclude, I have one last question for you, and that is, how do you think journalism education is going to evolve in the future with everything that's going on?
Okay. Well, being a part of NITE Institute of Communication, being family member of NICO, yeah, sometimes I feel I should not be telling negative about the field, because we are in the journalism education field. But sadly, throughout the last 50 years of evolution of journalism, journalism is something that is non-academic, something that cannot be taught, something that has to be internalized. Okay, basics of communication, that is, theories of communication can be taught, but how to communicate cannot be taught. So the academic approach to journalism has to change. This has been an argument, a discussion right from about 30-40 years. Even people like YNK and various other editors would rather say journalism education apart. A better journalist is one who has not studied journalism. Me for one. I don't have a degree in journalism, but I ended up being a journalist in Times of India. I'm not discouraging youngsters to get into journalism studies, but again, there is a question. The evolution of journalism today, or and where it has come to today is, I am forced to ask myself, is there any ism left in journalism in today's so today youngsters also feel we are not journalism students, we are students of media studies. So there the mindset also has changed. But overall, journalism education has to transform itself to a level that is in tune or in synchronous to the industry. The industry's requirement is to be taken into consideration. 20% theory, 80% practical exposure. 80% practical exposure, and most importantly, I would rather say, except for theoretical subjects, we need all the faculty to be practicing journalists in different fields. practicing media professionals. So today what has happened is 50% of our faculty are academic. I'm not again being biased, but then the effectiveness of a resource person or a teacher depends on his grassroots and ground experience. So journalism education also needs, because as I told you, journalism education or journalism is not an academic field, it is a practicing field. So we need practicing journalists to be actively involved in academic institutions, first thing. Second, the landscape has totally changed, from print dominated journalism to social media journalism that we are talking about today. Today we are talking about mojo, mobile journalism. We're talking about independent journalists who are having their own YouTube channels. We do no longer talk about journalists. We talk about content creators. Right? So the institutions imparting journalism education or imparting studies in media studies, imparting education in media studies should understand this, realize this, and in the 3 years of UG or 4 years of honors, incorporate as much that could be incorporated from the field, from the evolving trends. Every day there is a new trend. Now we had documentaries of 2 hours, then it came down to half an hour of serials or episodes, then it came down to 20 minutes of short films, then it came down to 5 minutes, now it is 10 seconds reels or shorts as we call. So this is the evolution that has taken place. Again, I would like to say print media will remain where it is, though it will slowly fade away, probably in the next 20 years. But print media will have its role to play. So, but maybe employment opportunities would reduce drastically. And more importantly, today's generation has very limited attention span in terms of being employed also. So everybody is thinking of new things every day, and our youngsters get carried away very fast. So they are also changing tracks. Okay, let me become a content creator, let me get into advertising, let me get into marketing, let me get into documentary production, let me become a cinematographer. So there are numerous opportunities which are all hands-on, and journalism education should go in tune with the evolving and with the needs of the industry. And when it happens, I think there will be a relevance of what you call journalism education, and the children who are being taking their education, journalism education, can apply it directly when they go out into the field. So this is what I am looking at, and journalism education will continue in different forms. So we have seen journalism education changing from print media dominated or print media centric to electronic media centric, and now to social media centric journalism education is moving towards. So I'm not pessimistic, but I'm optimistic. But at the same time, things will change drastically, and media studies, educational institutions should also keep pace with the speed at which changes are happening.
Thank you, Salah. This was a very interesting answer as well. And once again, thank you so much, sir, for your time. We are confident that this will be an invigorating watch for our viewers and to our audience. Thank you for tuning in. Until next time, this is the Further Stage.
Thank you very much.